Celebrating entrepreneurs and creativity. Talking business, pleasure, real life get together.
Yes, guys, so we are into another installment of the Creative Entrepreneur Podcast. For those of you who don't know, the Creative Entrepreneur Podcast is all about how we deliver content that turns creativity into careers, turn passion into profit. How do you monetize your talents? And we are speaking to amazing people who have done just that. So when we came up with this concept, I knew straight away that I had to speak to none other than Aaron Branch, who is an amazing entrepreneur / digital marketer / investor / author / dad / everything else. But before we start speaking to Aaron, I just want to quickly find out from you how things are, how's fatherhood.
Yes.
I know it was kind
turbulent.
of at the beginning, but I just want to kind of find out from you now how things are.
Yeah, great. Things are great. We actually went and had a home birth, which was supposed to be the scarier part of it. That went really well with my first ever child, and 2 days later he had something that's called, I think it's a little bit of jaundice, where he's a bit yellow, he's not having his food and stuff. So we had to end up spending about 10 days straight after that on day 2 in hospital. But thank God everything's fine now. He's healthy, he's growing quick, he's tall, he's long. But yeah, man, thanks for touching note on that, because it was tough, but it's all good now, man, thankfully.
Good. I give thanks, because I was observing and watching and thinking, I'm just praying and just sending positive thoughts. So I'm pleased that that's all good now.
Yeah,
I'm really
sure.
pleased. So let's get into some business stuff.
Some monetization.
But actually, before we even touch on monetization, for everybody that doesn't know who Aaron Branch is and what Aaron Branch does, just give us a update. Who is Aaron Branch?
Who's Aaron Branch today?
Yeah.
It changes a lot. So I own Social Agendas Marketing, which is a full-scale digital advertising agency where we focus on growing sales for businesses in a nutshell, without getting too intricate with it. Companies come to us, they want to advertise to grow their business, to grow their sales so they can hire more staff, create more products, and just have a bigger impact by generating more revenue in their business. And that is what our agency is all about. So we do, email marketing, social media advertising, content creation, the whole, service package really, to make sure we give ourselves and our clients the best chance for success on that front. That's really been my focus for the last 5 years, is how long that's been running, which, to where it is today, we've got 20 in-house staff members. Last year we served over 200 clients. Wow. Which is crazy. Not that we were counting them until the end of the year summary, and then we thought, actually, let's have a look. How many businesses have we actually worked with? And it's 200. Wow. And when you actually break that down between 52 weeks and how many different services, how much communication, it's something that I'm really proud of. But most recently, you've probably seen as well, so we've got a startup that I've invested in, a tech startup called Deliver Me, which is an on-demand delivery app for anything, anytime, anywhere. We recently just come off a crowdfunding campaign where we've raised £250,000 from 500 or so investors. That again is a new journey that I'm so excited about. It's something that I really believe in, because God knows I spend too much money on on-demand delivery services as it is. So I don't know what else I'll be getting delivered, but we've got Social Agendas, we've got Deliver Me, and then you mentioned, of course, I've always had a passion for writing. I love copywriting and, how you can use words and English language in particular to influence, educate, and empower other people as well. So one of the things that I was always looking for in the beginning of my journey was mentors, coaches, people who can empower me with the knowledge I'm missing to grow my company. And that's why I wrote a book called The First 365, which is, as it says on the tin, all about your first 365 days in business, in particular agency life, and just all of the things that I think are really important that people are savvy to before they get going. Because a lot of our belief systems, I know mine were heavily influenced about business from movies, Hollywood, right? This is how sales works. This is how marketing is. You know, you got like series on Netflix like Mad Men, which are, you know, characterizing and dramatizing what the business actually looks like. But I found none of it's really accurate. And the only real experience that I've had is there's certain things that you just can't teach, you have to go through. But if you're aware of them beforehand, I tried to put that in the book just to empower others who were going on that same journey as well. So yeah, a few things. That was the briefest I could break it down.
You know what, like, and you said quite a lot of things in there that I really kind of want to delve into. But the first thing that I really kind of want to understand a little bit more about is Social Agenda. How did that come about? You know, how did you found it? When did you realise that you wanted to do this business?
Sure.
Talk to us about that.
So, as I mentioned it to you just as we were there in the kitchen, my whole life ambition was to be a professional basketball player and have, you know, a 10, 15-year career. Not saying the NBA, right? Because to this day, there's no Indian people in the NBA yet, let alone British Indians. We're just not genetically created for that. But when I was in uni in London, you know, I had a great career in basketball. But my last year,
You're tall.
It helps.
Tall,
but if somebody's shorter than you, can jump higher than you, they're going to get to the ball first anyway. So the height doesn't really help too much. But with the basketball side of things, in my last year of uni, I started winding down and looking at what offers I could get to go abroad to make money. Couldn't realize my financial ambitions, which I'm very proud to say, because I wanted to build a lifestyle for myself. And now, I always used to say my unborn children, but one of them's born now, hopefully some more to come. And when I was thinking about him or her, and I was thinking about what I was getting offered for basketball, I was like, this isn't sustainable. It's too high risk and it's too much sacrifice after everything I've given it already. So that's when I started thinking, okay, how do I make money? So I got a job in Canary Wharf. I graduated uni. But that whole final year of my uni degree, my dissertation, because it was a music degree and sound design and media degree, my whole dissertation was focused on how musicians and artists shouldn't sign with major labels because social media enables them to build and monetize their own audiences. And the biggest case study and example I have of that is, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. And he was a big core case study in my dissertation, which really laid the foundations for me to learn what social media is, how people can use it, all the strategies around it. And through that, that's what led me to understand, okay, if all of this stuff can work for music artists, why don't businesses do it? Because they still need the same brand attention. They still need to get users. They need people to invest and spend money with them, either on their, you know, music or on their products and services. And that's what really led me to quitting my job in Canary Wharf after about 3 months and just saying, you know what, we're going to go move back up to the Midlands. Me and my partner, my fiance now, Holly, we're going to move up.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. COVID got in the way of progressing that for the last year and a half, 2 years. But we moved back into Holly's mom's house, back room, and that's where Social Agendas was born. We were sitting there. I was sitting there. Holly was going to work, and I was literally buying books and books and books on how do you do digital marketing effectively. Because I had all the theory, but I've never done it. And in that back room every day, I just hammered it for years until we got out of there, and it all worked out. But that is the origin story.
Wow. And I'm going to come back to you and Holly in a minute and talk to you a little bit about that, because one of the things when it comes to entrepreneurship, people think it's all business, it's constant go, 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 you have to give it all, and there's little or no time for anybody else, and I hate that myth. So I want to just explore kind of your relationship in a little bit more detail about how you manage your time to manage your family, etc., etc. But no, that's a really great story, and I think a lot of businesses, particularly creative businesses, are birthed in a garage or a room or somewhere like that, and I find that really, 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 really great. Okay, cool. So you've been going for 5 years now, and you've grown.
Growing pains.
Talk to us about your growth,
Yeah.
and when you first decided that you wanted to start scaling, or when you was
Yes.
ready to start scaling, and did the prospect of scaling kind of scare you, or did it kind of, was you up for the challenge? I kind of want to learn a little bit about that.
So for me, the growth in a business is the lifeblood of it. If you're not growing, you're one step closer to shrinking or being just break even. And shrinking can be good for profits. And as an agency, we're always at the whim of how much work we can attract and what clients we can work with and who wants to work with us. But the conscious decision that really changed the path that I was on with Social Agendas was the first 2 years I was really like a consultant. I was doing a lot of the work, I was getting the work in, and then I was using a lot of contractors, so outsourced help, from abroad, from the UK, whoever I could really find who was skilled enough to help. The client projects I was working on, ad hoc basis, but that's a lot of administration. It also means that those individuals are never exclusive to me or my clients because I didn't have enough work for them to be that. But what I started to see is as I started scaling and as I started advertising myself more, using the same techniques we were using for clients, I was getting inquiries, getting business, and the level of service just wasn't on brand in terms of my personal reputation, because I run adverts from Aaron Branch, and I always have for the last 5 years until literally last month, where now with my other interests, I'm expanding the brand on its own. It's strong enough to stand on its own now. Whereas before, every deal we did was off the back of my name, which means I'm a very proud person. Look, I'm not going to allow it to be deteriorated in any way, which means I'll have to cover anything that these guys and girls who I was hiring as contractors don't do. That's overwhelming. That can become stressful. When you get negative feedback, it's never nice. But when you don't achieve what you're supposed to achieve, look, advertising's cutthroat. Not every campaign makes it. Let's just be straight about that. Not every digital design or advert goes and creates an extra £100,000 in sales. It's just the nature of the beast. So that brings its own level of pressure. But fortunately, I'm used to pressure from the basketball side of things. Now, 2 years in, that's when I realized, okay, this has got me to a certain income, multiple six figures. I was living a much better life. I got myself out of debt, which I had a big £50,000 debt from the first 2 years because I just didn't know how to manage my finance. I thought I was investing in my company when reality was I was just digging myself a hole. And this is all because of the knowledge gap that I had at the time. I didn't know what I was doing. But that decision, to switch to in-house team members, which means they're exclusive to our clientele, which means they're focused and available for our clients, that has just propelled our business because I've never had a problem generating demand. You already know, I can talk. So I'm generating the same amount of demand, but now my team are the ones processing and onboarding new clients and deciding the right projects we work on. My delivery team are there managing those projects. I've got my executive team who are being reported to about what's happening and distributing work. So I've built this entire infrastructure now, and I've even onboarded now, which I didn't have in the beginning, a co-director and an additional shareholder, my guy Jack Mattison. So he's very operationally focused and in the day-to-day business, which again frees my time up to be able to create and do more in Social Agendas and out of Social Agendas. So, all those things that you're saying, did growth scare you? For me, ambition is, I don't know where the ceiling is for me. So if we're not growing, I'm not happy. It's not about, the financial gain or anything like that anymore, because my lifestyle, I don't really want for anything else anymore. Yes, I could have a nicer house, nicer car, arguably, depending on who you ask, but I'm comfortable and I feel safe and secure with that side of my life. So now it's more about how do I have the most impact? When do I feel my best? What do I enjoy doing the most? And for me, a lot of that is seeing other people within my organizations thrive, as well as my clients, my coaching, my mentoring side of things. That's, life-changing work for me. And that is a byproduct of growing. So the growth for me is something I look forward to, but it does have its side effects. Like I said, about stretch marks, growing pains. There are definitely tons and tons of things that go on behind the scenes that you're not prepared for when you're scaling, past 7 figures a year in revenues, and you've got 20 staff members, and it's always a work in progress.
Wow.
honest about that.
Yeah, and I guess that's what comes with growth. You know, with growth comes a lot more responsibility and a lot more risk, because you've got employees who have families, and you're paying their wages and keeping roofs over their heads.
Which
and
is
blah,
supposed
blah,
to be
blah.
today, by the way. It's payday. So I'm waiting to press the approval button on all of that. There's still one job I do: approve payments.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So I guess that extra added responsibility must be really, really, I guess, not difficult to manage, but you know, you've got people's lives in your hands, and that might be...
Yeah, it's a bit daunting.
It's not an easy fate.
But with cash flow, it's all about cash flow. You know, I actually... It's good timing for this meeting today, because I actually did a video on my Instagram yesterday talking about, is money isn't evil, or is it? Was the title of this Instagram tea. I just want to get this off my chest, because all of the best success stories I've had with our clients is when we've made them more money, which allows them to then become better business people and better businesses with infrastructure, with products. That cash flow allows for creativity and innovation. But when there's a lack of sales focus and money focus in a business, that's when you have anxiety about who's going to pay the staff this month. That's when you think, oh, you know, how are we going to actually get past where we are, and are we actually going in the right direction? And often it's because people sometimes don't want to talk about money. They don't want to address the elephant in the room, which is we're not making enough money to go around in our business to afford us the run rate that we're on, which is why so many businesses don't make a profit. So when it comes to paying, you know, and being responsible and paying your staff, and I'll definitely say that has made my risk appetite more sustainable. Decisions I've made in the past when it was just me on my own about how much I invest into advertising, how much, you know, I put into a production video or whatever else, I can't be as aggressive because the risk is too dear on the opposite side, and other people have to be paid, right? But when you're running, when your sales and your marketing is on point, when you're doing what you're supposed to do, when you're generating great results for clients, it's not daunting, because you know you're succeeding, and because of that, money will be a byproduct if you're ensuring it's a focus, which is what we sometimes have to remind a lot of people to do.
It's a business after
It's
all.
a business.
And we're here to make money, so
Yeah.
absolutely love that. Okay, so what would you say then would be the 3 things that people need to be focusing on if they want to scale and grow? So I know that you've kind of mentioned teams and in-house teams and cash flow, but I don't know if those would be the 3 top things, or 2 of the 3 top things that you would mention or say.
I've got it all
Go on.
laid out.
Go
This
on.
is going to become a mentoring section. This is part of this is a cheap plug, man, but I've got a start and scale mentorship program. We deliver it like 4 or 5 times a month, just because that's all my schedule allows. There's 4 main areas that I've had to understand to get to where we are today. The first one is accounting, finances, monthly profit and loss reports. How much is going out? How much is going in? But more importantly, what's the percentage difference every single month? What's the percentage difference between this month and last month on salary? Wow, salary spiked by 25%. Why? Because if it's is it spent on sales, which is a new revenue generating activity, or is it spent on delivery, which means it's going to bring down our profits because our work stays pretty much the same, right? So it's becoming analytical about your finances, but actually just looking at them. Most people, most businesses, when they're trying to scale up from startup land, they just treat the cash that comes in and put it in their back pocket like it's all theirs, and it's not. They're not spending profits, they're spending revenues. I did it in my first year, hence the big debts slowly accumulating. I went into it anyway. But the second thing on top of the accounting is, of course, your sales marketing systems, right? So your sales and marketing systems, how do you go about generating demand, attracting people? How do you then put them into a system where you can tangibly offer your services or your products? And then how do you actually get that into a manageable project management system with your delivery side of the business, which again is the 4th side. So sales separate, accounting separate, delivery, how you deliver that service. So what's your operating procedure, what are the individual job roles that are required to fit into that structure, what are the salaries you pay those people, how much are these people going to make, how much percentage are we going to keep in the business. And then leading on from that is you've got your HR, HR and legal, which you can already tell is not my favourite thing in the world. And when I had contractors...
I just heard your tone just drop, HR and legal.
When you got contractors, there is no HR. You don't want to do the job. Adios, amigo. Thanks so much. See, who's next? There's 100 applicants on all these outsourcing websites. But again, it's a mind shift. It's a mind shift. Because when you get in-house staff, you can't just throw them away because they have rights. So you have to look at, how do I develop these people? How do I put more time and train these people to not make those mistakes? And of course, the HR side, that's that, salaries, how do you go and onboard and find new staff? But then the legal side is your protection, isn't it? Unfortunately, in business, when you scale, there are going to be people and businesses who want to take advantage. And if you don't have somebody giving you the right contracts, giving you the right advice, all of those, it's horrible. It's not sexy. No one's talking about it because no one wants to talk about it. But without our legal side of things, having an in-house legal associate, we would have lost a lot of money in some circumstances out of fear because you don't know what you don't know about the legal side. So just having confidence in your contracts, having confidence in your agreements is going to save you a lot of time and give you a lot of peace of mind. So those are it. Sales, delivery, accounting, HR and legal. You get all four of those right, you're onto a winner. But in the beginning, most people in startup land are only focused on money because you need it, so they should. Was that a good enough answer, by the way?
Yeah. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Guys, you heard it. Those are the things that you need to be thinking about. HR, legal, finance. What was the
sales and delivery.
Sales and delivery.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And if it's a product-based business, it'll be distribution. So,
definitely.
If it's service-based, it's how do you deliver that service. But with products, it's what's your distribution channel. But anyway, it's meant to be a Friday, isn't it?
So, I know you for being a great leader. So you lead your team, and you can tell when you look at your team, you can tell by the culture, and you can just tell. And it takes a great leader to birth that type of culture. So talk to us a little bit around leadership and how important is leadership, and what is your leadership style?
Well, first of all, thank you. If that means I'm doing a good job marketing it.
Social media's a liar.
That's where legal comes into it. So my leadership style is definitely lead by example, which is, I got asked this question actually a while back, and I said if you look at it from like a military point of view, I'm normally the first man in, knocking the door down, getting the job done, taking the most risk, by being the first one in on a new objective. And then the team comes in behind me, organizes, systemizes, and delivers whatever that room needs or that project needs. Whereas what that does for company culture is that shows that, first of all, you're not afraid of putting the energy in, which sometimes can come into question. As you scale, people start looking at you as my role changes, because I'm not selling products anymore. That's my sales department. I'm not delivering the service anymore. I'm focused more on my consulting side of things. So then sometimes people can get misunderstood and start looking at you and think, oh, he used to be on the phones. What does he do now? Oh, he's in his office on his laptop. What's he working on? Right? Whereas the actual fact now is, with the way that I lead my team, it's had to become much more organized. It's had to become much more disciplined. I can't try and manage 20 people on my own. Right? One-to-one meetings, reporting back. There's too much administration. So I have to focus on the reports, advice, and it's not the best example, but as a president has his advisors, a prime minister has his advisors, the prime minister doesn't know what's going on in every single department. He just has to get the summary report. and make decisions based on that. So it's easy to do that when you're giving the business the right energy, but also being present and showing them, look, every single day I'm on social media. Often I'm not actually promoting and direct selling anything, but I am talking about things that are relevant to helping my business grow, trying to attract more business, trying to educate more people out there so that they come one step closer to working with my team and helping pay their salaries and bonuses, right? So my leadership style very much lead by example, get the job done, and definitely it's changed. Whereas before it was more run and gun. Now it's more calculated, patient, and long-term focused, which is definitely a transition. I'm only kind of realizing, telling you about it.
Love that so much. So one of the biggest obstacles when growing, of course alongside finance, but one of the biggest things is staffing and getting the right staffing in. How do you get the right people in to the right roles?
That's a tough one. And people, let me tell you, the hardest part in business. Getting the right people, again, systems, knowing your organizational structure is so key. So knowing the positions that are in the actual business that you have to have one or two people sitting in those seats to function is getting one step ahead of the game. But then, I've got a recruitment manager. So, we've got somebody who does this, who finds applications, shortlists candidates, interviews those candidates, gets them on a second interview with an additional team member just to make sure, and then we'll put together an offer and I'll sign off on if we're bringing them into the business off their due diligence. We'll also have trial days, We'll do a paid trial day. Come in, if it's a sales position, come in and take calls. Let's see what you actually, and it's not for us, it's for you. Don't come to the business and then say, oh, this ain't for me, and we've already had all this administration and turned away other candidates. Come in, have a trial. If you like the vibe, then we can go to the next step. So before, it was just, because things were so urgent, when you're trying to grow, sometimes you're rushing into decisions and you're like, actually, yeah, I need someone to do this job tomorrow. You got the job, come on board. I've literally done that, by the way. And often that's short-sighted, you know what I mean? And that can lead to trouble in the long-term vision where staff retention can be an issue. But replacing staff is one of the biggest inhibitors of growth. And again, when I'm on my social media, when we're investing in advertising, when we're focusing on brand building activities, it's not just for new customers anymore. It's how do we attract the right talent? How do we get more customers? And how do we actually reinforce our position in the marketplace to our existing clients? Because they need to keep seeing us as well to know, we're with the best, or what we think we are, which is one of the best advertising agencies for generating those results. So yeah, that process is just making sure you've got those milestones. Don't fast track it and short sight it. And also don't take on free help. Big mistake I made was, there's people out there promoting, get yourself a mentor, go and say you work for them for free. The amount of inboxes I get saying, look, I don't want anything. I'm young. I just want to learn. I want to shadow you. My friend, I charge thousands of pounds for businesses to shadow me. What makes you think I want to tell you how to do it? And then even the free help, the amount of time you have to train somebody to make them actually productive and effective, apart from making cups of tea, is far too much to warrant. I'd rather pay someone more and know I'm going to get an efficient result quicker. So have your process, have your milestones, and always pay for your staff and your help that you have in the business.
Love that. And I think one of the things that you mentioned just then is about doing a paid trial day. For me, that just again highlights the culture of the business and and how you are as a boss, because more often than not we see people saying, "Oh, come in, for a trial day and it's unpaid, blah blah blah."
Some of our trial days are unpaid as well.
Yeah.
It depends on the position. But if it's an executive position, a managerial position, that person's going to be, quite ahead in their careers.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's, a starting position, there's a lot higher volume as well.
Yeah.
We're not hiring 100 managers, you know what I mean? But we're trying to scale organizational structure in terms of the lower side of it, the startup side of it for people's careers. That's bloody hell. The budget. Talk about cash flow issues. My existing staff will be thinking, we can't get paid because you've got so many having free. Go to Social Agendas, they'll give you £100 for just a trial.
Just to sit there.
See if you're any good. No, that's definitely not it. But we do because it's important. It's important to value people's time as well and let them know. And I've been guilty of this as well, when you start achieving success young or early in your career, you start generating a lot of confidence. Sometimes, when you're getting paid thousands of pounds for your time as a consultant because you can generate results, there is arrogance that creeped in the beginning, and it's that basketball player kind of confidence where you have to kind of go over the top to prove that you can do what you say you can do. And sometimes that arrogance has to be removed and just let people know, look, right now, they don't work for me. You said boss. I work for them. I'm figuring out how can I help this business grow to make their lives better and keep them happy and excited to be with Social Agendas, because there's plenty of opportunities out there for people who are talented. And if they're working on our campaigns, they are talented.
Talking business, pleasure, real life get together. Join